Hello from Mindset Daily, wishing you a day full of health, peace, and happiness. Thank you for watching the Mindset Daily channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support us. Thank you so much.
Have you ever noticed how silence can be louder than words? What if the strongest response to disrespect wasn't arguing back, but saying nothing at all? And what if that very silence revealed more about your strength than any speech ever could? There's something powerful about silence. Not the silence of fear or surrender, but the kind that comes from inner strength, when you know who you are and feel no need to prove it. This matters most when you face people who don't respect you, even within your own family. Silence can be your greatest weapon. When people try to tear you down with words, attitude, or disregard, they expect you to break, lash out, or fall apart so they can justify their behavior. But when you refuse to give them that reaction, when you remain still and let silence speak, it unsettles them more than words ever could. The Bible says, even a fool is thought wise if he keeps silent. Why? Because silence shows control. It reveals restraint, not weakness, but spiritual maturity. It comes from knowing your worth is not defined by who accepts you, but by who created you. When you know who you belong to, you don't need to fight for a place at someone else's table. You don't have to chase people down or beg for respect. Whether it's a parent, a sibling, or someone who shares your blood, if they can't see your value, that's not your burden to carry. The truth is, some of the deepest pain in life doesn't come from strangers. It comes from those closest to you. When the world disrespects you, it hurts, but when it comes from family, it cuts differently. It feels personal, like betrayal, and everything in you wants to respond. Everything in you wants to shout, "Don't you see what I've done? Don't you see how I've been there for you? Don't you see how I tried?" But listen closely. Your healing doesn't come from forcing them to understand. It comes from letting go of that need. You have to reach the place where you can say, "God, I don't know why they treat me this way. I don't know why I'm never enough for them, but I trust you. You see everything. You know my heart, and you will defend me in the silence." And He will. God doesn't miss a single tear. He sees when they belittle you, when they whisper behind your back, when they ignore your presence as if it carries no weight. He will deal with it, not on your timeline, but on His. Your part is to remain still and let Him be God. Silence is not avoidance. Silence is choosing peace. It shows you've outgrown the need to shout just to be heard. It reveals a spirit anchored in strength, not shaken by noise. You don't have to argue with someone determined to misunderstand you. You don't have to explain yourself to someone who listens only to respond, not to understand. Sometimes the best response is no response, not from anger, but from confidence. And yes, that's hard. Especially when your silence is mistaken for weakness. When they say, "You don't speak up because you're afraid." The truth is, you don't speak because you are free. There is a quiet power in walking away without slamming the door, in refusing to chase closure, and letting God close the chapter for you, and He will. The moment you stop needing their respect to validate your worth, you begin living from a place of unshakable peace. It's a peace that passes all understanding. A peace that doesn't make sense to those around you, because they can't grasp the strength it takes to stay calm when everything feels unfair. Yet it's in that silence where God speaks. It's in that stillness where He whispers, "You are mine." You are not what they say. You are not defined by rejection. You are not your family's failure to see your worth. You are chosen. You are loved. You are set apart. So don't let disrespect drag you into their storm. Don't let their chaos disturb your calm. Let them wonder why you don't react, why you don't beg for their approval. You don't need to respond, because God is watching. And when He watches, He moves. He is the defender of the silent, the shield of the misunderstood, the voice for the voiceless. If He is for you, who can be against you? Stay silent, stay steady, stay anchored. The one who matters most hears what they don't say and honors what you never have to prove. That is enough. Respect doesn't begin with others, it begins with you. It shows in how you carry yourself, how you protect your peace, how you draw the line and say, "This is where I end, and you begin." That is how you teach others to treat you. And often, the hardest lines to draw are with those closest to you. People you grew up with, who share your name, your story, your blood. But family ties are no excuse for repeated disrespect. Love does not mean giving others permission to keep hurting you. Love does not mean becoming the mat everyone wipes their feet on. True love has boundaries. Without them, It's not love at all. It's fear, guilt, or obligation. There comes a time when you must stop asking, "Why do they keep doing this to me?" and start asking, "Why do I keep allowing it?" Because when someone disrespects you once, it's on them. But when they keep doing it, and you keep allowing it without consequence, it turns into a pattern. It becomes permission. And hear this clearly. God did not call you to be anyone's punching bag. He didn't create you to live in constant tension or emotional exhaustion, tiptoeing around people just to keep the peace. That isn't peace. That's survival. That's bondage. And God came to set you free. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is say no. No to the drama. No to manipulation. No to emotional blackmail. No to guilt trips disguised as family values. And yes, I know what you're thinking. If I pull away, they'll say I'm selfish. They'll say I've changed. Good. Let them talk. Let them say what they will, because you have changed. You've grown. You've come too far to keep shrinking just to fit into places you've outgrown. Boundaries don't make you bitter. They protect you from becoming bitter. They don't mean you hate someone. They mean you love yourself enough to guard your mental, emotional, and spiritual health. And when you draw those lines, not everyone will like it. But their discomfort doesn't mean you're wrong. Sometimes it's the clearest sign you're finally doing something right. God will never ask you to sacrifice your sanity for someone else's comfort. Yes, He calls us to forgive, to love, to extend grace. But forgiveness doesn't mean unlimited access. Grace doesn't mean letting people walk all over you. And love, real love, tells the truth. Real love says, I can't keep letting you hurt me just because we share a last name. Real love doesn't hide behind silence. It speaks with clarity, with kindness, and with firmness. It may mean your circle gets smaller, but peace is better than popularity. Dignity is worth more than being liked. And when you obey, God will replace what you lose with something greater in purpose. So draw the line, hold the line, not in anger, but in love, not out of spite, but out of strength. Never feel guilty for respecting yourself enough to walk away from what breaks you. That's enough. Love is one of the greatest gifts we can give and receive, but love is not a license for mistreatment. Sometimes even family loves us in their way, yet fails to respect us as we deserve. That kind of love can hurt deeply, because true love is meant to build us up, not tear us down. But here's a truth that can set you free. You can love people without letting them break you. You don't have to stay where pain repeats itself just because you love them. Sometimes love means stepping back, protecting your heart, and even loving from a distance. I know that's hard, especially when it involves family, and you've been taught to stand by blood no matter what. But standing by doesn't mean standing for everything. It doesn't mean letting disrespect continue or ignoring the pain. You can care deeply for someone and still say, I can't let you treat me this way. Loving someone doesn't give them a free pass to trample your dignity. Love that destroys you isn't love, it's a chain. And God never called you to live chained by someone else's lack of respect. Sometimes the kindest act for yourself and for them is to love from a distance. To say, I'm stepping back so I can heal, grow, and become who God created me to be. Loving from a distance doesn't mean you've stopped caring. It means you're protecting your heart. Because the truth is, you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot give love freely when your own soul is drained by constant hurt and disrespect. Understand this. Protective love is not selfish. It's survival. It's wisdom. When someone refuses to respect you, no matter how much love you give, you'll only find yourself broken again and again. That's not what God wants for you. He wants you whole, healed, and strong. He wants you to walk in peace, even if it means walking away from toxic relationships. Loving from a distance also creates space for change. Sometimes people need to face the consequences of their actions before they see the damage they've caused. Stepping away isn't punishment. It's giving them the chance to reflect, to repent, and to grow. But don't wait with false hope. Some people will never change, and that's their choice, not yours. Your responsibility is to love wisely, with boundaries and with courage. Because if you don't protect your heart, you risk losing the very thing love is meant to guard, your peace. And peace is priceless. Peace is God's gift, and no one has the right to steal it from you. There's a difference between love that saves and love that enslaves. Love that saves builds you up, lifts you, and encourages growth. Love that enslaves drains you, diminishes you, and makes you question your worth. If the love you're receiving leaves you feeling small, invisible, or disrespected, it's time to reevaluate. And sometimes reevaluating means creating distance, even when it hurts. You don't have to justify protecting yourself. You don't owe anyone an explanation for preserving your peace. Loving from a distance doesn't mean closing the door forever. It means stepping back until the day comes when respect can be restored. And if that day never comes, it's not your failure. It's a lesson learned and wisdom gained. Remember, God's love for you is perfect and unchanging. He loves you fiercely, tenderly, and with a respect that never wavers. He calls you to love others, but never at the cost of your own well-being. You are worthy of respect, of love that honors you, and of relationships that bring peace, not pain. So love them with all your heart, but don't let them break you. Protect your heart with courage and grace. Walk in freedom, knowing that loving from a distance can sometimes be the greatest act of love for yourself and for those who still don't know how to respect the gift of your presence. That is enough. One of the hardest things to do when faced with disrespect, especially from those closest to us, is to forgive. Forgiveness is not easy. It isn't a quick fix or a simple choice. It's a process, a journey. At times it feels like a mountain too steep to climb. But forgiveness is not about forgetting or pretending the hurt never happened. Forgiveness is freeing yourself from the prison of bitterness and anger. It's choosing peace over pain, healing over hatred. You may ask, how can I forgive when they never apologize? How can I forgive when they keep hurting me? The truth is, forgiveness doesn't wait for an apology that may never come. Forgiveness isn't based on someone else's actions. It's your decision. It's saying, I refuse to be held hostage by resentment. I choose to release this burden and move forward. Holding on to anger only chains you to the past, keeping the wound open and the pain alive. Forgiveness is what breaks those chains. I'm not telling you to let people off the hook or pretend everything is fine when it isn't. Forgiveness doesn't erase justice, and it doesn't mean restoring trust overnight. Forgiveness is for the sake of your soul. It's a gift you give yourself so you don't carry the crushing weight of hate and hurt. Think of Jesus on the cross. He forgave those who wronged him even as he suffered. He didn't wait for apologies or for them to make things right. He chose forgiveness, knowing that holding on to bitterness would only deepen the pain. And if he could forgive from the place of greatest hurt, surely we can find the strength to forgive those who disrespect us, even within our own families. Forgiveness doesn't erase the lesson. In fact, it often teaches us the deepest truths about who we are and who we want to become. It teaches humility, patience, and grace. It shows us how to rely on God's justice rather than our own thirst for revenge. It reminds us that He sees every injustice, every insult, and that He will one day set all things right. As hard as forgiveness may be, it brings freedom. It brings peace. When you forgive, you stop fueling the fire of anger inside. You stop giving power to the ones who hurt you. You reclaim your life, your joy, and your strength. Forgiveness lets you breathe again. It allows you to truly live again, walking in the light instead of chained to the darkness of resentment. Forgiveness is a choice, not a feeling. You may not feel ready, and that's okay. Forgiveness often comes step by step, day by day. Sometimes you have to choose it every morning when you wake up. Some days it will be harder than others, but keep choosing, because forgiveness is the path to healing. It's the bridge that carries you from pain to peace. And remember, forgiveness never means exposing yourself to more harm. You can forgive and still protect yourself. You can forgive and still keep healthy boundaries. Forgiveness and self-protection can coexist. Forgiveness frees your heart, and boundaries guard it. When you forgive those who disrespect you, you don't just release them, you release yourself. You break the cycle of hurt. You open the door to healing. And in that healing, you discover a strength deeper than anger could ever give. So don't keep carrying the heavy burden of bitterness. Choose forgiveness, not for them, but for you. Choose peace. Choose freedom. Choose to let go of what holds you back. That is enough. One of the hardest lessons in dealing with people who don't respect you, especially those closest to you, is the power of silence. We live in a world that urges us to speak up, defend ourselves, and react quickly when wronged. And yes, there is value in standing for yourself. But there is also profound strength in knowing when to remain silent. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not surrender. Silence can be your fortress, a place of peace, a shield for your heart and mind against needless battles. When someone disrespects you, your first instinct may be to respond, with anger, with sharp words, or with explanations to prove your worth. Reacting often gives power to the disrespect. It fuels the fire and drags you into conflict that leaves everyone wounded. But silence can be the greatest response. It shows self-control. It shows wisdom. It declares, I will not let your words or actions steal my peace. There is a deep biblical truth in the power of silence. We see it in the life of Jesus. When he was falsely accused, mocked, and insulted, he did not strike back. He kept silent before his accusers. That silence testified to his strength, his trust in God, and his refusal to be drawn into fruitless arguments. He knew not every battle is worth fighting with words. When you practice silence in the face of disrespect, you deny others the satisfaction of watching you unravel. You refuse to be a puppet to their provocation. Instead, you take back control. You choose how you will respond, not with anger or hurt, but with dignity and calm. Silence is a powerful way of saying, I am better than this. I will not be dragged down. But silence is not ignoring injustice or pretending pain doesn't exist. It is a strategic choice. It protects your spirit while you process your feelings, while you pray for wisdom, while you prepare a response that honors your integrity. Sometimes silence is where healing begins. There is something sacred about silence. It opens space to listen to God, to hear your own heart, to embrace the quiet voice of truth that noise and conflict try to bury. In silence, you discover clarity, peace, and the strength to move forward without bitterness. Remember, silence doesn't mean you are weak or that you don't care. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself and for others is to step back from the fight, refuse to engage with disrespect, and focus on your own healing. When you hold your tongue, you're not denying the pain. You're choosing to guard your heart. There's an old saying, silence is golden. But it's more than a saying, it's a spiritual principle. In silence, you protect your peace. In silence, you show that you won't be controlled by chaos. In silence, you create room for God's peace to fill the spaces where anger and hurt once lived. And with time, those who disrespect you will notice your silence. Some may even grow to respect it, realizing the strength it takes not to join every battle. Others may feel confused or frustrated, but their reaction is not your responsibility. Your role is not to explain your silence or defend your peace. Your role is to live in it fully. Silence itself becomes a testimony. It tells others you value peace more than their approval. It says, I will not compromise my dignity just to win an argument. It sets the standard for how you expect to be treated, not with words, but with action. So the next time someone disrespects you, even family, do this. Breathe deeply, hold your peace, and choose silence. Not because you're afraid, but because you are wise. Not because you don't care, but because you care enough about your soul's well-being. And if silence feels hard at first, that's okay. Strength is built one moment at a time. Keep choosing peace over conflict. Keep protecting your heart with quiet courage. Remember, sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. That is enough. There comes a time when you must realize not everyone in your life is meant to stay forever. This truth is hardest with family, because society insists family is forever and we should endure anything for the sake of blood. But respect is never optional. When someone continually disrespects you, even family, the most courageous step may be to walk away and free yourself from the chains of toxic relationships. Walking away doesn't mean you stop loving them. It means you love yourself enough to refuse ongoing harm. It means you understand that your peace, dignity, and emotional health are worth protecting. Sometimes the greatest act of love you can show yourself, and even them, is to say, I will not be part of this cycle anymore. This decision is never easy. It comes with pain, guilt, and fear. You may worry about what others will say. You may feel the pull of tradition or expectation. But God did not create you to be a doormat. He created you to walk in freedom, dignity, and joy. And if walking away is what it takes to preserve that, then that is what you must do. Walking away doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't mean burning bridges or shouting goodbyes. Sometimes it is quiet and calm, a gentle but firm decision to step back. It is choosing distance over conflict, peace over chaos. It is realizing that some people will only respect you when you refuse to tolerate disrespect. There is strength in knowing your worth. There is strength in guarding your heart. There is strength in saying no to those who tear you down. And that strength comes from God, who reminds you that you are precious, valuable, and worthy of respect in every relationship. When you walk away from disrespect, you create space for healing. You open space for new relationships that honor you, for growth, and for peace. Sometimes people only learn to respect us when we show them we won't accept less. Boundaries often need to be unshakable for respect to take root. Walking away is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of a new chapter where you reclaim your power and your peace. It's the chance to surround yourself with people who lift you up instead of tearing you down. It's the freedom God intended for you. You may wonder if walking away means giving up on family, reconciliation, or hope. It doesn't. It means choosing what is healthiest for you now. It means trusting God with the future, with the healing of hearts, and with the things you cannot control. Sometimes stepping back is what creates space for true change. So if you find yourself in a place where disrespect is constant, where love feels conditional, and your soul is weary from trying to earn respect that isn't given, listen carefully. You have permission to walk away. Not because you don't care, but because you care deeply about your well-being. Not because you hate, but because you love yourself enough to say yes to peace. Walking away is not failure, it is faith. Faith in God's justice. Faith in His timing. Faith that He will bring healing and restoration when hearts are ready. It is courage to choose yourself when no one else will. It is strength to protect the sacredness of your spirit. Remember, no one has the right to disrespect you, not even family. You don't have to remain in a place where disrespect is the norm. You can walk away with dignity, with grace, and with hope. You can step into a future where respect and love coexist, where your heart is safe, and where your soul can breathe freely. That is enough. I wish you health, peace, and happiness. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Mindset Daily.